You know, we've got to be careful. If we're not careful as ministers, we only want to tell the story of the famous. You know, somebody may say, you're not going to believe who I led to the Lord. Somebody else may say, you're not going to believe who I've been witnessing to. But we never tell those stories about the poor, the shabby dress that nobody knows about. Nobody says, you know, I was getting my shoes shined this week, and I got to thinking, I thank God for that man. And while that man was going there shining my shoes, I thought to myself, in God's image, Jesus Christ died for him. I'm going to make sure he knows the Lord. And if you lead him to the Lord, I don't know that it'll make it into the sermon that I led a shoe shiner to the Lord. But now, while I was getting my shoes shined, this executive from this leading corporation sat in the seat next to me. You get the story? And we brag on how famous the people are that come to Christ. When you really tell the story of the cross, if I think I got it right, there's only one famous one in the story, and that's the one who stepped out of heaven. He created the world and everyone that's in it, and he created it all for himself. We're made by God and for God. He's the famous one of the story. God forbid, God forgive me for when I make much of the people you save instead of the Savior who saves them. He's the famous one. The attitude of the usher. The context of this passage is thought to be an actual happening according to scholarship. This isn't a story that James made up. It actually happened at the church in Jerusalem. Now, he tells us what the usher's done. He tells us how we've got to stop doing it. Now, by the way, the verb that he uses in verse number 1 is not don't ever do this, but the verb is stop doing it. You're guilty as charged. And I guarantee you, he'd say the same thing to my heart. John, there's times you're guilty of showing partiality. So this really spoke into my heart. And then he says, you just got to quit being a short-sighted usher or a nearsighted usher and see things the way God would have you to see it. But now let me move to a third statement and try to wrap it up.